Liquid Shredder Soft Surfboard, 7 foot, yellow. Hey guys, I got a different surfboard video for you today. I'm going to do a quick review on the Liquid Shredder Easy Slider 7 foot fun board in the color of yellow. Nice and bright. I figured I needed a board for beating around, or when I want to teach someone how to surf, I can just have a board that isn't hard so they're not going to really hurt themselves, by the board smashing into them or them into the board. The durability of a Foamie, generally they're going to get dinged up. They're going to show marks and stuff. The core of this board is EPS. The bottom of it is something that's slippery. Hold on. The bottom of the board, well, it's polypropylene, and it's slick and adds rigidity and strength, according to the website. And then on the top is colorful soft EPE, which is expanded polyethylene, and it adds comfort and anti-slip texture when wet. I'm going to say that because this is more of a beginner board or more of a Foamie board, this does not need wax. Now ideally I would have liked to gotten like a Costco board, like a Wave Storm, because those are really inexpensive and apparently they're pretty good value. But unfortunately, they didn't have any in stock, at least in the 7 foot. I could get the 8 foot at a really great price, but they didn't have the 7 foot in stock. And Amazon didn't have it either. So the overall dimensions of this board, it's 7 feet in length, it's 20 inches wide, and it's 2.75 inches thick. So 2 3/4 inches thick. It's very light. I haven't weighed it, but I can hold it with one hand easily. It's laminated with this bottom polypropylene that's very slick, very, as it says on the website. Durability wise, who knows? I'm not expecting too much, but if I get a couple years out of it, this will be great at this price point of about $200. The fins are, well, they're kind of heavy actually for a board this light, but they're made out of this soft rubber material, and they were very easy to install. I just used a quarter, and then they just get bolted right through the foam surfboard through some grommets. Now on the leash plug, I'm not sure of the long-term durability because it's just looped through one of the bolts. It'll probably hold up in small to medium surf, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm not like going to be taking this out into huge surf anyway. So the bottom of the board where it meets the foam, this looks to be fused together. It looks like a nice seam. And the deck of the board isn't domed, it isn't convexed or anything, it's just flat. The bottom, same thing, there's no concave or convexes or anything like that, no channels. It's just a very flat, very basic design, which is expected. The rails themselves are very full, so I suspect this board's going to be very corky, which is to be expected for a board like this. And yeah. It'll probably be great in the whitewash, especially if you want to teach some people how to surf, or you want to just have fun and screw around in the water. I'm going to give this a try and just give you my impression the next time I get out and see what happens. But overall, so far I'm pretty happy with my purchase, even though I haven't had it out in the water yet for, $200. You can't buy much for $200 in surfboards. I've had this board out a couple times now, and I'm liking this board a lot. But there are a few caveats. Obviously, this board is not meant for heavy shredding, even though it does have shredder in the name of the board. I'll start with what I don't like about the board, but these are all minor things since this really is a beginner board or board just to get you out there on the water, just to have some fun. Okay, so the board does dent, especially on the deck from your heels, but the dents do recover over time, but I'm not sure about the long-term durability of the board. But so far it seems okay, but that's to be expected for a foam board. The rails do have a bit of a hard edge, so they might catch on larger waves when riding the face of the wave. Also, the nose rocker is, well, it's pretty flat. So if there are any steep waves, the board has a tendency to purl more. But that's not a really big deal because the compromise is with more nose rocker, you can get into a steeper wave, but with a flatter rocker profile, it really makes the board a lot easier to paddle and you can get up to speed a lot easier. And the last point that I don't like about this board are the fins. They're a bit too small in my opinion. Turning this board is hard in comparison to a board with a similar dimensions or profile, but with larger fins. So it does, when you're comparing the two, this one, the fins are a little bit undersized. Also, overall, the board feels a bit loose, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on your personal preference if you like a board that's a little bit looser on the face of the wave. Okay, let's get to what's really awesome about this board and what I really like. First off, it's got a ton of float. It's got nice big thick rails, a nice good amount of body to it. Also, the deck is nice and grippy with no need for wax, or at least I didn't seem to need any with my combination of gloves and booties, and also wetsuit. So, I did take it out on a small day that was about knee high, and it was a lot of fun just playing around with it. I could turn it if I aggressively put my rear foot back and then pivot on it, because again, about the small fins. Leading back to my point about the fins, could be a bit bigger. Also, the fins, I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, they are flexible and softish. So if they hit you, you won't get cut. So that's probably pretty important for someone who's just starting off. This board catches the smallest waves with ease, and if you're just starting out and weigh less than, I don't know, 160 pounds or so, I think this board would be perfect to get your wave count nice and high so you can start standing up on the board and practicing your pop-ups. I will mention that I did take this board out when the surf was really heavy one day, about chest high, and it was super windy and choppy. So it wasn't like huge, but it was definitely rough conditions. So in conditions like that, this board started to reach its limits. It was very squirrely on the face, which is to be expected for a board this light and floaty, but it was still super fun to take out that day. So with a board this light, I did find on a larger wave and when it was really windy, I did get blown around a bit on this board. Now, getting into the waves were no problem as long as they weren't pitching. And again, as I mentioned, that's due to the flatter nose rocker. However, this board really isn't meant for conditions like that, but you could still take it out. So overall, I highly recommend this board if you want something just to play around with, to get out there into the water without spending a ton of cash. So yeah, that's my quick review on this. You know, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and thanks so much for checking out my review of the Liquid Shredder Easy Slider 7-foot fun board. I hope you enjoyed this video, and check out other videos on my channel that are surfing and non-surf related. Yeah, that's it for now. Bye for now.